What's up, guys? Welcome to another Gun Gamers video. I'm House, and with me...
I'm Cory.
So Cory, you're obviously a teammate of ours, and you've been playing with me for a while. We've been friends for a long time. Actually, some of you might recognize Cory from some of our other videos if you have been really paying attention.
Kind of in the background, just hanging around.
Exactly, but always here, ever present, ever watching.
Always.
And actually, Cory had a video idea, and we're just going to kind of do this as a loose panel, two-person panel discussion. And it was talking about, and this is a video I've actually wanted to do for a little while too, which makes it all the more perfect. And that's talk about how your physical fitness can affect your airsoft game and some basic concepts you can use to optimize your physical fitness for your airsoft game. Now, to start off, neither of us are personal trainers, neither of us are nutritionists, scientists, doctors, or any of that. So we're not going to reinvent the wheel. We're not going to say anything crazy. Much of what we say here is probably going to have been said better other places. But this is meant to be a starting point. This is meant to be if you're just thinking about this, or if maybe you're looking for some new directions that maybe we've had experience with. And of course, if you have any questions, you can leave them down in the comments. And if we don't know, we'll point you to someone who does. So this is just meant to be kind of a starting point for if you're the big fat guy on the airsoft field who wants to not be that big fat guy anymore. That was me a few years ago. Or if you're, a little skinny guy who thinks, hey, maybe I could put on some muscle mass, be a little faster. It all depends. So let's start off with, so Cory, what do you really want to get put out in this video?
Well, this whole idea started when I got out of the Army. I just let myself go, and I started playing Airsoft, and I kept playing, and I had to stop, at open play games, and my back was just killing me. And that's when I decided I really need to get disciplined again and start getting ready, because I wanted to go to bigger ops. And then we decided that we were going to go to Op Gladio by M. Sato and Centurion. And so I really ramped up. I was working out maybe 3 or 4 times a week after work. And that really paid off. Going to that terrain, I didn't really know what to expect. I knew it was going to be in the Poconos, which is in Pennsylvania, and those hills are nasty. They will destroy you.
Yeah.
And I went there, and, a lot of the other guys, Eric and I, and one of the other guys that we play with, Mike, we were just watching people drop like flies because the terrain was nuts. And that's when I was like, wow, working out really paid off. But, I still was sucking wind at some points. So even then, at Gladio, I was like, where can I improve, So, I really decided I needed to change my workout even more after that if I'm going to keep going to ops like that.
So that's probably the biggest thing with airsoft and physical fitness is what holds you back most on the airsoft field isn't your gun, it isn't your gear, it isn't anything. What holds you back is your personal skill set and your ability to execute that skill set. Not to sound too try-hard with the way I'm phrasing that, but that's really what it comes down to. And if you're able to keep yourself physically in the game with your cardiovascular health, with your muscular strength and endurance, then that's what's going to help you continue to be able to keep that gun on target, execute your reloads with your proper habit because your muscles aren't as fatigued and you're not sucking wind. As Cory gave a little story. I'll put up a picture here just because. Until about 3 years ago, I was probably carrying 80 extra pounds of body fat at least. I was about 344 pounds. I was the big fat guy, the stereotypical huge airsofter wearing the triple XL multicam top. And after a little while, both for personal reasons and field-related reasons, let's face it, mostly for personal reasons, I decided that I was going to, change course and really improve my diet, improve my workouts, and that's what led to me now being about 250 pounds as opposed to 340 pounds and definitely in much better shape. Anyone who's played with me can tell you I can move.
Oh yeah, he's fast.
and that's a lot of fun. And that's the thing. It all comes down to having fun, and it's definitely more fun when you're the dude who can move super fast and make all those plays super late into the game when everyone else is really tired.
You don't want to be the guy.
Going.
You don't want to be the guy stuck in the back, sucking wind when everyone else is up front. And then they come back and they're like, "Wow, that was awesome!" And you're like, "Oh, great, I'm fat." You gotta. And another thing that I was just thinking of, the more you work out and get ready for Airsoft, you're gonna enjoy it more, but it's also gonna make you more of an asset. And being an asset to your friends and your team is kind of a good thing, It's okay. If you've got medical conditions, if you're hurt, it's all right, But I mean, you really want to be able to help people out and help your guys out. It's much more man, I lost it. It's much.
I can cut it so you can just start.
It's much more fun if you're out there with your guys rather than just being in the back sucking wind. And no one wants to be that guy left behind.
Yeah, and even if you have medical conditions, there are ways you can work around those. I have bad knees, so I wear knee braces. I have a history of seizures, so I watch out if I start getting a migraine because that's a kind of a thing for me. So you can work around those conditions, obviously, and that all comes down to how well you know yourself and how well you know your limits. But when it comes to fitness, you always want to be pushing those limits too, but within reason. It really depends on the way that you want to. So you really want to try to maximize your potential while limiting your risk. And that's probably one of the things I want to start off with immediately is if you're thinking of starting to work out and starting to do a new fitness regimen or a new diet for being in better shape for life and for Airsoft, because let's face it, this is going to benefit you more at the doctor's office than on the Airsoft field. But the Airsoft field's a good motivation. The first thing I would say is don't just jump right into some super intense plan that you can never keep up with. I think that's a big mistake a lot of people make is they'll go immediately into some, powerlifting 12-week plan and they've never picked up a weight in their life. So now all of a sudden they're trying to do 5 sets of bench press and number one, they have no idea what they're doing. And number two, they're doing way too much of what they have no idea that they're doing.
And another thing, if you're an older person, no offense, but if you are older, then you probably shouldn't be lifting a ton of weight and you definitely need to work yourself into it. Our bodies are incredible machines, but they can't handle tons of exercise at once. You've definitely got to work up to it. And coming from someone who also has medical conditions, I suffer from severe migraines and I have horrible motion sickness. So cardio is a beast that needs to be killed, and I just have to go after it slow. And you just have to learn your body. I know my limits. I know if I start getting dizzy or start getting a headache, I need to stop. That's just the way it is. That's life. You have to work around it. And with Airsoft too, if I get a migraine, I stop. So does Eric. It's just, you got to take care of yourself.
Exactly. So now to give kind of a starting point, now that we've talked about starting, I would divide, and again, this is probably not a concept I came up with. This is all stuff I've heard before from other people, other YouTubers, my personal trainers I've worked with, all kinds of stuff, my doctor. Fitness kind of falls into diet, cardio, and strength training. I consider kind of the 3 main pillars of your fitness regimen. You need all 3, and you need all 3 to overlap correctly. So let's start with diet, because I think this is the one no one ever wants to hear.
No one wants to talk about it.
No one wants to talk about it. No one wants to talk about, if you want to be in shape for Airsoft, you got to eat right. But again, this is being in shape for life, because Airsoft is a game. Your life is your life. Being in shape for life is going to be better down the road. But your diet, there's so many diet plans out there. There's so many different kinds of advice. I can't cover all of them. But my basic starting point, I'm just going to say what I did to lose weight, is I just used a calorie calculator and a macro diet. So I calculated how many calories I was burning every day, put myself into about a 500 calorie a day deficit, and then I just started losing weight. just count the calories you're putting into your body. And then when you want to, if you want to go more advanced than that and really optimize for performance with your eating, then you can go with a macro-based diet, which again, there's a million different approaches. This is just the one I used. The macro-based diet is where you eat certain amounts of protein, carbohydrates, and fat every day and try to hit but not really exceed those goals. And that was what I did. I'll put links in the description to some of the tools I've used that I have found to help. And I'm not sitting here like I have an ego, like I'm some shredded bodybuilder or super fitness guru, but I'm just a guy who got in better shape and now is in what I like to think is pretty good shape. Still working on it, of course, and just is trying to play Airsoft and just live my life to that next degree by continuing to optimize this. So those are the tools I kind of used for diet. And I swear that's my spiel. And what do you say?
I have a slightly simpler approach. I kind of break my food intake down very, very little increments. Throughout the day, I eat really small meals, and I don't really keep track too much of calories. But one thing I do keep track of is how much I'm eating. If you have to think about, man, this portion might be too big, it's probably too big. You should probably... You just have to control yourself and be disciplined, and you got to think, well, pizza probably not the best tonight, and just try and eat decent amount of protein, lots of vegetables, lots of colorful food, and
especially leafy greens, because fiber is your friend.
Fiber is excellent, and another thing. One of the best pieces of advice I've got with carbs, that's the thing I always crave. I always want bread and stuff like that and granola. Take a look at the fiber and then take a look at the carbs. And if it has a lot of fiber but still, a decent amount of carbs, then the carbs aren't that bad because that fiber kind of...
Well, again, fiber is your friend.
Yeah.
So it's called net carbs is the concept. And it's basically... Yeah, you're taking in you're taking in, I can't think of exact numbers off the top of my head, but let's say you're eating cauliflower. And cauliflower might be super high in fiber, but also have carbs, but, you're not, let's say you're taking in 4 net carbs because 16 of those 20 grams of carbs are from fiber. So, again, but it all breaks down into different ways. I'll put links in the description for better resources. Again, this is a jumping off point. I might have even said stuff that's wrong, so follow the links. Just follow me to the links.
Another thing we should probably talk about is what exactly you should be doing with working out. Like what exercises.
And that was what I was going to go to next.
Yeah.
So this is kind of dual fold. This is the next 2 pillars, and one kind of is cardio and weight training or resistance training or whatever. Now, you don't need a gym membership to do resistance training. There's plenty of bodyweight exercises and there's plenty of different ways to do resistance training, but a lot of people seem to think that you don't need to do resistance training to be in good shape. And that's true to a certain extent, but if you're trying to build muscular endurance and muscular strength, you need resistance. That's a simple fact. Now you can do pull-ups, push-ups, pistol squats, one-legged Romanian deadlifts, and get creative and do a lot of that stuff at home. But at the end of the day, you're going to want to put in some work at a gym or get a home gym or get some weights. That's not to say you should just go to a gym and stand in front of the mirror doing 3 sets of curls for the rest of your life. That's not going to get you in any kind of shape, except maybe your arms will look decent on top of the rest of your flabby, shitty body. So, that's horrible.
You just described me.
Wow.
Yeah, he's definitely right. I mean, you run around, a lot of people wear close to 40 pounds, especially if it's a big op. Resistance training, you kind of need resistance training to get ready for that event. Definitely something I would focus on is core, your back, your arms, and your legs. And
I would say shoulders more than arms.
Shoulders for sure. Specifically, farmer's carries are awesome. Take a couple, dumbbells and just walk. The resistance from walking and the shifting of your body weight is really going to help build those muscles. And then shoulder press, stuff like that.
Yeah, and what I do personally is I actually work out pretty much every day. After work, 5 days a week, I go to the gym and I work on my legs, which are specifically quads and glutes and hamstrings and calves. Then I will work on my biceps, triceps, forearms a little bit, chest, back, core. I work core. And this is what Cory was saying. Core is probably one of your most important, like your abdomen and your lower back. Those are probably your most important muscles
You build
for
your core.
your body.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. Just like those are your most important muscles for anything. I work them every single time I go to the gym. Whether it's doing planks, which are a good stability exercise, whether it's doing weighted crunches, which are good for trying to build some of that strength in there. There's also toes to bar. There's doing exercises in what they call the Roman chair. There's a million different ways to work your core. Side planks. I'm just running out of ideas because there's so many and I'm trying to recall all of them. But working your core is probably one of the most important things you can focus on. After that, I would give equal importance to your upper and lower body. Working your upper and lower body completely in every muscle group with a combination of compound and isolation exercises. Compound exercises are basically squat, bench, deadlift. Those work pretty much every muscle in your body between those three. Then you have your isolation exercises like bicep curls, which work one major muscle group really. And you need to have a good combination of both of those so that you can build good strength and endurance in those muscles. And I would generally recommend when you're starting out, probably stick to 3 sets of 10. I mean, that's a pretty easy way for most people to start out. It's just, hey, 3 sets of 10. But as you start building into it, getting more comfortable with it, your form is good, maybe you're starting to put up a little more weight, then I would start saying do more sets and start changing the weight on those sets. Pyramid sets are a good way to do it. But again, there's a million people have explained this better than I could explain it. So links are in the description.
One thing I was thinking of too, when you strengthen your core, you're really going to help your back. And I know there's plenty of people out there with bad backs, and you're really going to feel that you have a bad back when you're wearing gear all day. So the more you work your core, the more you're going to see that pain disappear. And that's a good thing because we all like to be comfortable, especially in uncomfortable situations like wearing kit for 6 hours or more.
So I guess that's kind of our basic introduction of, weight training. Number one, you should be doing it some kind, even if it's at home, even if it's with like the various home workouts. But then there's cardio. And as much as no one wants to talk about diet, no one wants to talk about cardio. I hate cardio too, but that's a whole other story. So there's 2 major kinds of cardio that I will say are applicable and severely beneficial for airsoft. And they're really the 2 major categories of cardio, period. At least that are in vogue right now. There's high intensity interval training, and there's, which is short, high intensity, you say sprint for a minute, walk for a minute, sprint for a minute, walk for a minute, that kind of thing. And you maybe do that for 15 to 20 minutes. Then there's longer, more moderate cardio. This would be hiking, bicycling, doing the elliptical. So any of those kind of things where you might be going for 30 minutes all the way up to a couple of hours, and you're not elevating your heart rate to a really high point. You're not getting out of breath enough that you can't hold a conversation, but you are still getting that heart working. You're working pretty much your whole body via this cardiovascular process that you're undergoing while you're putting yourself under this controlled kind of stress.
Personally, I really enjoy hiking, and I really enjoy doing those longer cardio sessions. I have a love-hate relationship with cardio. It messes me up, but I kind of like it. You get that runner's high. Specifically, I really hit the Stairmaster because it kind of kills 2 birds with 1 stone. It works your legs, it works on that resistance, and it gives the feeling that you're wearing gear, kind of, in my opinion. I don't know. And it also jacks your heart rate up, and I can get, I'll do 20 minutes on the Stairmaster, and I feel like I just did an hour on the elliptical or the treadmill. It's just a great thing to do. And if you don't have a Stairmaster or don't want to go to the gym, find some hills, especially if you're in the Northeast. They're everywhere.
And just do some hiking. Grab a pack, grab a ruck,
Yep.
put some weight in it, put some essentials in it. Water is a great way to add resistance and have something you need.
Yeah.
So just throw a bunch of water and some stuff in there and go for a day hike. And I personally like to mix it up. I like to do high-intensity interval cardio and short, intense cardio sessions. But then I also like to do longer, more moderate cardio sessions. The way I see it, you're kind of getting the best of both worlds there. You're building that endurance and you're really working on going for a long time and having a more casual cardio session. Like when Cory and I go hiking, that's always a good time. But then when I'm at the gym, at least 2 days a week, I try to hop on the treadmill or the elliptical, usually the treadmill at this point, and I'll do what I just described. Sprint for 1 minute, walk for 1 minute. Sprint for 1 minute, walk for 1 minute. I'll do that for about 15 minutes, followed by a 5-minute cool down, just walk, but on a high incline so that it's kind of simulating a hike as my cool down. So I find that doing a little bit of both of those really benefits me, because then when I go onto the airsoft field, I can play all day and not be super tired, but then when I need to go fast and sprint, I can do that because I've been doing that. And that also goes into the fact that I work my legs mercilessly. So I've got a lot of fast twitch muscle fibers that I've been working on there. Especially because after I tore my meniscus last year, I basically had to rebuild my legs throughout 2016 and the winter to now. So that's what we talked about, dealing with injuries earlier.
Yeah, Eric's knees, he's had bad luck with those, but his calves will put the fear of whatever God you believe in into you. Do not walk behind him going up the stairs. His calves just stare you in the face.
Okay, we're gonna go on a totally separate rant here. This is a little nugget for anyone who's made it this far in the video. If you've made it this far, just comment below. I made it to the calf story. So Cory and I are drinking one night, which we're probably gonna do to one night, one of many nights. We'll probably do that again before too long. And I'm walking upstairs in front of him. It was during the summer, so I had shorts on. And Cory just, in his stupor, just says, "Man, Eric, I'm scared. I feel like your calves are going to eat me."
They probably would have. If you kept going up the stairs, they would have just gotten bigger and bigger.
Oh, my
and swallowed me up whole.
That was certainly an experience.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you hang out with your drunken veteran buddy.
Oh, yeah. Good times.
Oh, man. How do we recover from that? What else did we want to say? So again, this has kind of been an introduction, I guess. I'm sorry that there's not a lot of specifics in here, but the thing is, fitness is so personal. It's a lot of what works for you. And what I've described that works for me and what Cory's described that works for him, these are solutions that we've found that help us to continue on the journey of continuing to be in better shape. Because that's the thing, you can never be happy. You can never be complacent. You can never be done. There's no point where you're finally like, you know what, I'm as fit as I'm going to be. That is false. In the eternal words of Dom Mazzetti, the day you started lifting is the day you became eternally small, because you will never be as big as you want to be. And that is true of anything of fitness. You'll never be as fast as you want to be. You'll never be as big as you want to be. You'll never be as strong as you want to be. But the point is to start. And that's what we really made this video to do, is to encourage you to start, because as we've described, it really helps you out in your game. And hopefully you'll take a look at some of those solutions and listen to some of what we had to say and find some value in it.
Another thing too, being fitness is a personal journey. And when you are getting ready to go to those big, national ops and everything, and if you work out and once you get there, you're probably going to have a little bit more confidence than you did if you didn't work out, because the more you work out, the more you build your muscles, but you also build your mind. And being able to push yourself, not to quit, and keep going, that's going to do wonders for you, especially on the airsoft field and in life in general. Working out is just good for you. It's a habit that everyone should have. Whether they're crazy and they want to see huge results, or whether they're just trying to maintain a fitness level and stay healthy. Either way, it should be done.
Exactly. There's a lot of different forms, there's a lot of different ways to do it, but we hope that you find a way that works for you, maybe with our help or maybe just with our encouragement. If you have any questions or if you have anything that you want us to talk about, or if you just want to fucking chat, just leave a comment down below. You can shoot us a DM on Instagram or on Facebook, and maybe we can help you out. So this has been a video with House.
And I'm Cory.
Thank you for watching. See you on the next one. Peace.